Hey everyone, it's Lisa Sweeney here from Business in Heels, and I'm so excited today to be joined by Brigitte Stills. She is a woman on the rise, and she's pretty amazing because she's an Australian real estate industry professional who's award-winning property manager and consultant. But she actually has been one of the first women in real estate within the Sydney area, or probably was the first woman. So welcome, Brigitte. It's lovely to have you join us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really delighted to be here.
So, Brigitte, you're pretty amazing. Tell us a bit about how you got started in the real estate industry.
Look, it's such a long time ago. It's for over 4 decades. In 1975, I basically got started in real estate. It was basically a sheer accident that this happened. I was looking for a part-time job. I was at Macquarie University studying psychology, and I was running out of money with regards to paying my fees, and I wanted a part-time job, but I needed a part-time job where I worked sort of 3 days per week. And I looked around, and there was a development company at West Ryde that was looking for a part-time person, mainly weekend, and it was to lease properties, lease out rental properties. And subsequently, I got the job there, and that's how it all sort of started for me. And I worked there for a few weeks, and I did really, really well. And I leased a number of properties, and they were delighted with what I was doing. And I loved it. I loved the communication. I loved working with people and helping people find new homes, and different parts of their lives were expanding, and I just enjoyed it. And so subsequently they said to me, oh, would you like a full-time job? And I thought, well, I've got 3 months off for the Christmas break and the summer break. I'll take it. And I did, and that's more or less how I got into real estate, and I got into property management, and I became a property manager for that company within 6 months. And a few months after that, they asked me to join their sales team because they were starting to sell their strata apartments. They'd strata titled a lot of their apartments, and they were selling them. And there was myself and one of the directors, and we were the only ones selling on the team, and that was great. And I did that for a number of months. And then I thought to myself, I'm doing really well at this. I want to sell residential homes. I want to sell commercial properties. I want to sell land. I want to expand my horizons. And subsequently, that's what I did. I started looking around, and I found it really difficult trying to get a job. But then I came across this company that was based not far away from where I was working, and they were looking for somebody. They were looking for somebody with experience. And I remember talking to the manager at this place, and he was saying to me, "Look, if you want to come and see me, don't waste my time. Make sure that you can prove that what you have been doing." So I bundled up all my my invoices and all my ledgers and everything, and I went to see him, and that's how I ended up getting into residential and selling car yards and selling land and selling development sites, and my career expanded from there.
And eventually then you set up your own company?
After a while, I did this. I worked for a number of companies. I worked for this company, then I moved across to another, and then from there on in, I thought it was time for me to start doing something for myself. And I had all these fantastic ideas. I loved property management. I thought there was a need for somebody to work in property management, to expand it. And I had these creative ideas that because we had a lot of people coming in from overseas, expats were coming to Australia to work, and they all wanted upmarket properties, and they wanted to be treated a little bit different than just your average tenant. And I thought, no, I want to go into executive leasing. And that's what I started. I got an agency. I started an agency at Roseville, and I catered specifically to the expat industry, and got all the bankers and CEOs and everything like that, and got involved with travel agents and all these sort of thing, and people that were actually looking after expats that were coming in, similar to buyers agents, but they were rental agents. Mm-hmm. And that's how I started that, and we did really, really well out of that. And we did ordinary leasing as well, but that was my passion, and my passion has always been such, and was looking after people coming into the country.
Oh, it sounds amazing. So as a woman in a male-dominated industry, did you have some challenges?
Look, I I had a lot of challenges. It was tough. It was very, very hard in my day. 1975, I was the first woman that was known in Sydney to be in real estate. And they kept telling me such, our manager kept saying, we're advertising your name. You don't know how lucky you are because you're the first woman actually to get, this exposure and to have this brand behind you, etc. So I was constantly being told I was. And yes, I was, because there was me and there was all these other men. There was me at auctions on one side and there was the men at the other side. If anyone was going for the listing, it was like, who was going to go for it? And it was, I had to do a deal with the girl at the front desk, the receptionist, to say, look, if somebody comes in and they're wanting to sell, can you send them my way? I'm just sitting over there. And she would do that. And she said to me, look, I'll let you know who's coming in next. And this is the way we had to work, because the man would stand up and he'd say, yep, it's my turn. It's always his turn. So you had to fight your way. You had to fight for your recognition, for your work. You had to work a lot harder. You instead of working 6 days a week, I had a tendency to work 6.5 days to 7 days a week. I'd do open homes and they would do their hours and I would do mine an hour and a half, and I would go and do after hours appointments and they wouldn't do them. It was just totally different and a lot harder. But at the end of the day, I look at it, I reflect on it now, and I say, well, I believe I've left a legacy in what I've done in those days, and I've shown my way, and it was hard work, but I wouldn't be where I am today without it.
I know. You kind of wish you didn't have to push those extra miles, but clearly, it's made a difference. Now, you've kind of found your passion in your focus now on mentoring, consulting, and coaching. Do you want to tell us a bit about why you love doing this so much?
Yes, when I sold my business, when I sold my real estate company 3 years ago, I got into coaching and mentoring and consultancy, and I couldn't get out of the real estate industry simply because I had a passion for it. I didn't have a passion for anything else. I tried other things. I bought a coffee shop and I worked very hard at that, and that was good, and I ended up selling that very well. But at the end of the day, I just got back into real estate. Real estate was me. And I had this feeling, and I still have this strong feeling these days, that women are very good at selling to other women, and women are more caring and sharing, and they want to serve others a lot better and a lot easier and are a lot more helpful. And I felt that if I could go out there and I could help other women not do what I did, but be similar, but have believe in themselves, get resilience, tenacity, and start working freely and standing on their own 2 feet. I wanted to do that. And I thought, having the experience that I had, that I could help people in the industry in sharing what I'd gone through, my passion, and how I've developed and how successful I had become in the same way. So when I consult to other real estate agencies, I very much adopt the same philosophy and principles that I did when I started my business, that I could help. And some of them are still going very, very well.
Well done. I think that's exciting. So tell us, maybe about a couple of, give us an example of someone that you've really been able to support.
Yes, look, I helped a young girl. She was 17, and it was actually her mother that got in touch with me, and she said, look, my daughter wants to get into real estate. And it wasn't that the daughter wanted to get into real estate. The mother thought she would be ideal in real estate because the neighbor had just sold their house for some extraordinary amount of money, and she thought, well, there's a lot of money in real estate. She wanted her daughter to get involved in it. And I had this meeting with the daughter, and the daughter, at the end of the conversation, said very little to me. And I picked up, through body language, that it wasn't really for her. And I said, what do you really want to do? And she said, I want to help other people. She said, I want to do a job where I can help other people. And I said, well, this is where you start. And you can start, start at the bottom, work your way up, and you can start making some money for yourself, have some recognition, and build your own legacy. And after a couple of meetings that we had, she got into property management. She started off being an assistant in a company, in a real estate company. And then subsequently from there, she got into property management, and she started working as an assistant in property management. And from there, 4 years later, she's now a sales consultant, and she's just one of the many that I've helped. I mean, there was a young fellow that through COVID had a very, very bad. He had a terrible experience with a company he was working for, and he said, I think I want to get out of this business. I don't think I want to do this anymore. And I said, what makes you say that? And he said, I just can't do it anymore. And it was COVID had hit him pretty hard. And it was 6 months of talking to this young guy on a weekly call that I eventually got him back into the business again. And I got him into another company, and he's now still working in real estate. But there are a lot of people out there that just haven't got the opportunity, or didn't have the opportunity, or didn't have someone to talk to, because it's very hard to find yourself a mentor that has been through more or less what I have, or a mentor that's had the experience.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, it's just lovely that you're paying it forward and making a difference to these young people. Clearly, you're very passionate about the real estate space. Also, Brigitte, you haven't sat still. You're a published author. Can you tell us a little bit about your books?
Yes, look, I participated in 2 collaborative books. The third one is actually being released in February of next year. We're 45 authors within this book, and it's a voices book. And basically, it's all to do with real estate, where I talk about real estate, and I talk about my experience, and I talk about about how to build yourself, how to build your profile, how to stand out from the crowd, and that sort of thing. And that's been my passion. Ultimately, I'd like to write my own book, and I'd like to write a little bit more in depth about what I've been doing and who I am and what I can see for myself, even though at my age, I sort of think, well, there'll come a time where I'll have to retire one of these days. I can't see it as yet, but that's basically what my books have been all about.
I think if you can keep giving back, whether it's as a full-time or part-time, and you're making a difference, why would you want to retire?
Well, this is it. People say to me, I go to meetings, I go to a lot of network meetings, and I look around and I sort of think to myself, God, am I the oldest one here? But then I have a lot to contribute, and people ask me a lot of questions, and I have a lot to say. And I think what I'm saying is productive and it's helpful. Otherwise, they wouldn't ask me back. I'm sure about that. But why not? Why not? While I can help people succeed, women succeed, or anyone out there to succeed, or to build their legacy, build their life, build their business, be stronger at what they're doing. Why not?
Well, and so for those of you who are listening or watching the recording, if you're into real estate and you're actually having some trouble getting empowered or being motivated, I think you could have a great conversation with Brigitte to advantage. So amazing, Brigitte. Thank you so much for sharing with us a bit of your journey. Like, wow, fancy, the changes you must have seen in the industry.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There have been many changes in the industry, and every month I hear more and more and more, and I keep thinking to myself, I'm glad I'm not in property management at the moment, but I'm going to help people out to succeed in it.
Exactly. Thanks so much for joining us today, Brigitte. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for the opportunity.